After that, General Huaiyan took me in and treated me like his own granddaughter. To me, he is 100 times better than my sinful father. He taught me forging and swordsmanship. Han Guang paid for his sins, but his troubled legacy must not go unchecked. According to the records, he forged a total of 1,382 Heliobus cursed swords, and 182 of them had unique designs. When I joined the Pyrogyre Forge for training, I made a vow to hunt down all those cursed swords. So far, I found 312 of them, and Guyun will be my 313th. Like all the other cursed swords, I'll separate it from the Heliobus. Then, I'll melt it down and make it part of the Blade of Forged Remnants. I've said my piece now. Even though it'll be tough for Grandpa, I still have to melt down the sword. Those travelers who came seeking Han Guang's swords all came in the name of justice and honor. Most of those so-called great heroes were heartless killers. They are only called heroes because they won. Many of the cursed swords I've destroyed had honorable and grand names, too. A legendary sword and a butcher's knife are often just different ways of describing the same thing. Somehow, after talking to you, I feel like I've cooled off a bit. Well, I'll have an honest conversation with Grandpa tomorrow. And I won't take any action against Guyun until he gives me his reasons. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that in a public place. Anyway, thank you. We'll catch up tomorrow.
I should go back to the Palace of Astrum and tell General Huaiyan what happened at the Artisanship Commission.
My granddaughter didn't cause any trouble, did she, young lady? Sorry for all this trouble. Yunli told you quite a bit. Now it's time for this old man to tell my side of the story. Han Guang was my beloved disciple. A rare genius not seen in the Pyrogyre Forge since Yanqing. However, talent can sometimes be a curse. He had an unusual fervor for forging, and he dreamed of forging a sword with self-awareness that surpassed that of humans. He believed it would make warriors invincible without any training. According to him, while weapons of mass destruction like Zhu-Ming flames and alchemical arrows can destroy many enemies, true victory lies with soldiers who fearlessly fight, ready to lay their lives on the line. Usually, Xianzhou swordsmiths infuse a basic level of awareness into their swords to make them easier to wield. But even then, soldiers need to experience countless battles to overcome fear and sharpen their instincts. So, By infusing heliobi into swords, he managed to forge weapons that could grant their wielders strength and valor, and even make decisions for them. However, weapons are different from regular tools. They are meant to kill, plain and simple. After countless battles, all the anger, fear, and bloodlust are soaked up by the heliobi within the swords. The soldiers wielding them not only gain strength, but they also become consumed by the malice, turning them into puppets possessed by the swords. No matter how noble Hongguang's intentions were, those weapons, soaked in blood, turned into cursed swords eventually. Later, Outworlders got wind of what he was doing and encouraged him to keep forging cursed swords. They came up with all sorts of reasons, from taking back their kingdoms to slaying demons. And you know what happened next. That massacre took her parents' lives, and the lives of many craftsmen in the Pyrogyre Forge. Yunli managed to survive, but she couldn't escape the horrors of that day. Yes, I don't want her to spend her whole life trapped under her father's shadow. She doesn't deserve to carry the weight of his mistakes. Despite her vow to hunt down and wipe out all cursed swords, fulfilling that vow requires immense effort. Traversing the starry seas in search of the swords is like finding a needle in a haystack. And to reclaim those swords, she has to duel the bloodthirsty wielders, teetering on the edge of life and death. She has taken back over 300 cursed swords, and has suffered the same number of fatal wounds. I took her in to give her a chance at a normal childhood, not to send her on a sword-hunting journey. Even if she manages to melt down all the cursed swords one day, what will she do with her life after? Hu Yin is indeed one of the cursed swords forged by Hongguang. Very few swordsmiths could use heliobi as forging material, and Hongguang was one of them. His attempt came at a terrible cost. Hu Yin is indeed one of the cursed swords very few swordsmiths could use. I thought this sword could be an opportunity. I wanted to tell her that her father wasn't all evil, that even the man she resents so much managed to forge a true sword of heroes. I also wanted to find a chance to tell her about the history and origin of this sword, but not during the ceremony. As you saw, it wasn't a good time. I've instructed the Artisanship Commission to keep the sword safe in the arsenal. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask the people involved. Since my granddaughter mentioned talking to me tomorrow, I'll be waiting for her. By the way, you watched over her for quite some time. You must be exhausted, aren't you? I'll be counting on you then.
Time to go back and find that class-skipping March 7th.
Please, take good care of Yunli.
Time to go back and find that class-skipping March 7th.
All right, everyone is here. It's time for questioning.
Yunli, I'm sure you understand why the official called you here, right?
Yeah? But I didn't steal the sword!
Unfortunately, official Dahao didn't hear Yunli's promise. If we don't recover the sword, we will be breaking our promise to the Lawfu and betraying the delegation. We're counting on you to find the truth, official Dahao.
Yes. It's my duty to thoroughly investigate the case. Even though Yunli is firm in her words, we can't just rely on her testimony.
After everything, the sword still got stolen. Ugh, they should have given it to me from the beginning.
In this case of Gu Yun's theft, everyone involved seems suspicious to some extent. Miss Yunli is the main suspect. First, during the sword gifting ceremony, Yunli openly expressed her intention to steal the sword. She even mentioned it multiple times. After the ceremony, she broke into the Artisanship Commission and destroyed Arumatons in an attempt to get the sword. Am I right?
That's true.
The Realm Keeping Commission inspected the arsenal where Gu Yun was stored, and there were no signs of forced entry through the doors or windows. The only possible entrance or exit was a small window gap, just a few inches wide.
If March 7th were here, she'd probably jinx it and accidentally reveal who the thief was.
The box containing Gu Yun was opened and the sword went missing, but none of the other swords in the room were touched. Which means...
Yeah, I don't think it was stolen on a whim.
Exactly. The suspect had a clear motive and took only Gu Yun. So, besides the ceremony participants, only the delegation members had access to the sword. In that case, why would they return it to the Xianzhou in the first place? That makes sense. The delegation, led by the Knight of Beauty, delivered the sword to the Artisanship Commission. The craftsmen who received it testified that they didn't take anything from the arsenal. Argenti? Oh, that Knight of Beauty. He was with the delegation when they handed over the sword to the Artisanship Commission. You might not know, but he's the one who recognized the sword's origin on Kalevala and escorted it back to the Xianzhou. In other words, he's the one who made it possible for the sword to come home. So, he wouldn't have gone through all that trouble to bring it to the Lawfu if he wanted to keep the sword for himself, right? Master Gongshu checked the work records, and I questioned all the craftsmen and apprentices who were on shift at the time. But I didn't find any suspicious individuals. So, did you steal it? Then stop joking around.
I can prove that she came to me after leaving the Artisanship Commission, so she couldn't have stolen the sword.
Put it simply, not everyone who's seen the sword has been to the Artisanship Commission. Not everyone who might want the sword has seen it. So, the only remaining suspect is Miss Yunli.
Fair enough.
So...
I didn't steal the sword.
Well, when you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. If you want to prove me wrong, you'd better come up with some solid evidence.
Let me gather my thoughts. I need to help Yunli clear her name. Did we miss any clues?
I don't want to make things difficult for official Dahao. Let's do this his way, and prove my innocence. If I can find that cursed sword, I can prove my innocence right away. There's something else bothering me. Why would the thief take the sword, but leave the case behind? Did they melt down the sword like I wanted to? Yeah. Maybe. But if the case was too much trouble, wouldn't it be too conspicuous to carry around the sword like that? In plain sight?
Yunli says she didn't steal the sword, and I am willing to believe her. But I know well that Yunli can be impulsive. So if she did steal the sword on a whim, I won't show her any favors. You were with Yunli yesterday, young lady, so you have the best chance to prove her innocence. Is there anything you need to ask me? No, she was still mad at me, so she didn't come by. If she had come with you, she wouldn't be a suspect right now. After the ceremony, Argenti carried the sword case, and together with the delegation, they were escorted by the Cloud Knights to the Artisanship Commission. The artisan there confirmed that the sword was safely stored. I'm counting on you, then.
Yes, I received your message yesterday and went to the arsenal to check on it. But when I went back this morning, all that was left was the case. I don't know anything else, so asking more questions won't help. However, as the Master Artisan of the Artisanship Commission, I've got to clarify something. Even though the sword was stolen, this commission is still highly secure. Wait, no. I just remembered. My precious arumatons were smashed!
Who could have thought that the Miekaki vesa would be stolen? And that the prime suspect is General Huayan's granddaughter? Regardless, we've accomplished our mission, and now it's the Xianzhou's problem. By the way, why did that girl call it a cursed sword? It's quite upsetting. That's enough, young lady. Let me get something straight. On Kalevala, this sword has always been highly revered. The first master of the Miekaki vesa slew countless demons and then passed it down to a line of wise monarchs. The monarchs would heed the guidance of the hero spirits within the sword and gain insight into defeating their enemies. Oh, of course, it could just be a myth. After all, no one has actually heard the sword speak. The point is that the Miekaki vesa did help the ancestors of Kalevala build a strong foundation. It's definitely not a cursed sword.
So, the thief took the sword from the... Why is this flower petal?
If you've found any clues, feel free to tell it.
Thank you. But I'm not sure if I can convince Mr. Da how.
100% sure. Fine. Let me go through my reasoning again, and you can interrupt if anything feels off. Throughout the entire incident, there was only one suspect who broke into the Artisanship Commission, and that was Miss Yunli.
On second thought, maybe let me...
Take your time. Throughout the entire incident, there was only one suspect who broke into the Artisanship Commission, and that was Miss Yunli.
On second thought...
Take your time. Throughout the entire incident, there was only one suspect.
Your statement isn't quite accurate. Argenti, the delegation members, and even me, we were all at the Artisanship Commission at some point.
True. But they all left after delivering the sword. And the craftsman overseeing the handover confirmed that they couldn't have left with the sword. We looked into it as well. Before Guyun was handed over, the side crane at the entrance of the Artisanship Commission captured you leaving. But there's no record of Miss Yunli leaving.
Why would I dare leave through the main entrance after smashing the aromatons?
Throughout the entire incident, there was only one suspect who broke into the Artisanship Commission, and that was Miss Yunli.
On second thought...
Take your time. Marie, throughout the entire incident, there was only one suspect who broke into the Artisanship Commission.
On second thought...
Take your time. Throughout the entire incident, there was only one suspect who broke in.
On second thought...
Take your time. Throughout the entire incident, there was only one suspect who broke into the Artisanship Commission, and that was Miss Yunli.
On second thought...
Take your time. Throughout the entire incident...
Your statement isn't...
True. We looked into it as well.
Why would I...
Throughout the entire incident, there was only one suspect who broke into the Artisanship Commission, and that was Miss Yunli. Miss Yunli caused a ruckus at the Artisanship Commission trying to take away Guyun, but you stopped her in her tracks. After bidding farewell to you, Yunli pretended to leave, but snuck into the arsenal alone and stole Guyun.
On second thought...
Take your time. After bidding farewell to you, Yunli pretended we haven't found any other suspects or evidence.
I found this in the crevice at the bottom of the case.
A rose petal? Huh. I must have missed it during the search. But why was there a petal inside the case?
I don't know. But I do know that wherever that Knight of Beauty goes, he always leaves behind a trail of rose petals that's almost impossible to clean up.
My thoughts are a mess. Let me sort them out. The sword case was never locked, which is evidence that only someone who delivered the sword could have done that. And the rose petal was probably left behind by that Knight of Beauty. But how did he manage to take the sword from the Artisanship Commission? Why did he steal it after returning it here? And why would he leave that petal in the case?
I know. Guyun flew out of the case on its own. The Knight of Beauty only unlocked the box to aid its escape.
Don't be ridiculous. How can a sword escape from a case on its own?
You've never seen a flying sword before?
I've only heard about the Mieka Kifesa being able to fly in legends. But even if it could fly, why would the Knight of Beauty do this?
Like I said, the sword contains a heliobus. Argenti must have been under the control of the sword. Maybe he was under its control even before you arrived on the Lofu.
Official Dahao, where can we find that knight?
Let me see. The docking location of Argenti's ship, the one and only.
Let's go. We've got to find Argenti before that sword completely takes over his mind.
It's still early. Where to now?
Success and failure. You can't change it no matter how hard you try.
I've been waiting for you here for quite a while.
Knight of Beauty. You're the one who stole Guyun, right? Hand it over. You have no idea how dangerous that cursed sword is.
Dangerous? In my humble opinion, the real danger is always the hand wielding the weapon. Please allow me to correct your statement. I never attempted to steal this weapon. As a Drilla's knight, I've sworn to live in poverty and possess only what is necessary.
What? What do you mean?
I agreed to assist Master Guyun in its escape from the Xianzhou. As the person who pulled it from the stone monument, captivated by its beauty, I must not let it down. I couldn't stay in the arsenal to convince the craftsman, nor did I want to take the sword like a thief. That's why I left behind a small piece of evidence that pointed to my identity, in the hope of an open and honest conversation with you.
Whatever your reasons are, you're planning to take the cursed sword away from the Xianzhou. Hand it over to me!
Back then, it was the beauty of Master Guyun that impressed me, so I willingly embarked on the journey to return the sword. But unfortunately, Master Guyun's homeland is no longer the ideal place for it to return to. As a Knight of Beauty, I must not abandon it halfway.
Oh no. He's completely captivated by the power of that cursed sword. The solution is right in your hand.
Captivated? No! I am touched by Master Guyun's flawless beauty. To be honest, I'm confused why none of you can understand this sword. This is quite heartrending. I've already made up my mind to take Master Guyun away from the Xianzhou.
That cursed sword has messed with your ability to think. But I'll break you free from its grip. I'll shatter its illusion. And the sword itself.
Fair lady, if you're intent on taking away this person, this sword that is under my protection, please engage me with a fair duel according to knightly etiquette. As a representative of this duel, I, Argenti, challenge you. I swear on the spirit of chivalry, in front of Adrilla the Beauty, that I will represent Master Guyun in this duel. If I win, you will allow Master Guyun to leave the Xianzhou with me. And if you best me, Miss Yunli, I'll accept my defeat and turn Master Guyun over to you. Do you accept my challenge, Miss Yunli?
Fine. Let's see whose desire is stronger. Your desire to take it away, or my desire to hunt down all cursed swords. Show me what you've got. You're not going to use Guyun to fight for victory?
Well, I know a thing or two about swordplay. In a proper duel like this, a knight should rely on the skills he's honed day and night.
You're a real weirdo.
Rise to the challenge.
Be of your body and mind. Everything in this world is bleeding.
Flesh wound.
Fight to live! Set the seas ablaze!
Behold, this symbol of pure... Let the duel commence.
Fight to live!
Rise to the challenge.
Let the show begin!
Confess! Put forth all your might!
Let's improvise.
All will be swept away by the wind. Time to cleanse the filth.
Flesh
Set the seas aflame! Fight to live!
I've lost. According to the rules of a knight's duel, I should keep my promise and hand over the sword to you. But before I do that, I hope that you, as the winner, might have the mercy and listen to Master Guyon's past experiences.
This sword has been cursed since the day it was forged. Place it in front of me, and let me destroy it.
Do what she says, knight.
But...
You've done so much for me already. It's time for me to face her alone. I'm weary of fighting. I just want to share my past with you. To explain why I wanted to escape. After that, I'll leave my destiny in your hands. Are you afraid to witness my past, little girl?
Afraid? Well, you do have a different aura from other cursed swords. But you're just trying to use my curiosity to lure me in.
Well, you know best that a single touch won't snatch away anyone's sanity.
Fine. Show me your past.